everyone, welcome back to alkaline hydroxide 784, and today in the digital tools series, I can't say that word, oh my gosh, but you know what series it is. Okay, so today let's move away from Microsoft for some time and then look at something else, because this is something I can actually explain quickly enough, or like without having to do extra work. Because for the other stuff I would need some time to go there and tinker around a bit and then figure things out before I do the episode, and I don't have time for that right now. So it's like just my exams ended yesterday, so yeah. Anyways, speaking of tinkering around, today's thing is called Tinkercad. So in Tinkercad, well, you can do quite a bit of stuff, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so in order to start, so there'll be some instructions on how to open up and start a new project. So once you've opened up a new project, you will see that there's a name here. Tinkercad likes to give very unusual names to each of the projects. So it'll have like an adjective like this, magnificent, and then this very weird name that I have no idea where it comes from. So so that's the name. If you want to change it, you can, or if you really like the funny names, then you can just leave it as it is and literally refer to your project as this. For example, magnificent Lapi Ferran, I guess. Okay, anyways, that's not the point. And this is the 3D designing part of Tinkercad. I know there's other parts to it, and we'll cover that in later episodes. And for the 3D design, it is actually very simple, because unlike other 3D design CAD softwares, Tinkercad is very simple. You just drag and drop, and you can literally adjust all kinds of things. And yeah, in my opinion, as someone who has used CAD software, at least other CAD softwares as well, I find this very easy to use. But the problem is, since it is very easy to use, there's some functionalities that may not be appropriate for people who want ultra fine design when they download the STL, or certain special functions that you can only find in 3D softwares rather than in an online website. Right, so I'm just gonna tell you how to use this if you've never used it and you want to use it, because I think this is a skill that is becoming more relevant nowadays because of 3D printing and additive manufacturing becoming quite popular, and especially if you're interested to be an engineer and want to do designing as well. This is a skill that would be quite useful to know, and it's a good place to start. So if you figure it out here, then you can move on to more complex CAD softwares and try out even more things. So this is just a good stepping point before you move on. Alright, so in the 3D design space, we have a work plane, which is this blue color thing. You can kind of imagine it like the space that you have in a 3D printer. So the default here will be 15 by 15, I believe. So if I click this, this is actually 20 by 20 cm. And you can adjust your measurements and stuff like that. You can even make a custom measurement, like for a custom grid, and make it super huge and everything. So that's up to you to do. And yeah, so that's the work plane. And the work plane has a bunch of different viewing options. So this is the home view, which is what you're seeing right now. So if I want to move things around, I can either click the cube and then click in different directions and let it move like that, or I can, if I go back to home view, I can just click the cube and then rotate it around like that. That's possible too. Okay, so, and if I want to actually move the pan around the plane, I can click the shift button. Sorry, not shift button. If I use my the right mouse, I can do the rotation. And if I use if I use the shift plus the right mouse button, I can then pan the thing around. So I can very easily move things around, and that's why it is quite useful to have a actual computer mouse instead of using the pad that's on your computer. I mean laptop, yeah, the laptop mouse pad, because that one is quite painful to do it for a very long time with your finger. Instead you use an actual mouse that you can attach, like use a USB and connect to your computer, or a Bluetooth one or whatever. As long as the actual extended mouse rather than the mouse pad, it'll make your life a lot easier. There's actually even a special gadget just for this kind of software, but you don't really need it unless you do this all the time or something, yeah. So yeah, we have our workspace, how you navigate it. And apart from the work plane, another very useful tool here in Tinkercad that many people fail to use is this ruler tool. So this tool is very useful, as you'll find out soon. So I'm just going to keep it here. So this is aligned with this particular square here. So I'm going to move it to a corner, to the corner of a square. So if I scrolling in will zoom it in. And then if I, why is this thing not working? This takes a bit of, like trying to do the shift and move sometimes doesn't work. You have to press really hard for it to work. I don't know why. But anyway, so this is the point in which this grid is, originating at. And this will be at the origin point for all of the things that you do. So if I scroll out again and I move back to home view, let me put in a shape of sorts. So we have all kinds of shapes. There's basic shapes. There's all kinds of other shapes as well. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them, but you can do that on your own time and then see if they're useful for anything, because sometimes you may need a slightly more complex shape. And you can, apart from text and numbers and characters and all that, there's even stuff like connectors, so you can even get things like this. And there's even stuff that's like the making at home. There's stuff like toothpicks and pennies and things like that. So yeah, you can play around with the stuff here. It's perfectly fine, and you can just do it in your own time. But for now, let us do something with the shapes here. Okay, so let's do like a little house or something. So let's bring this little box here. So you might be wondering what's the difference between this red one here and this shaded one here. So this one is actually a hole, and you can even change this one to a hole by clicking this button here. So what a hole is, well, if I wanted to show you what that means, I can bring in another shape, another box, and then make it bigger. And basically, if I were to combine the two together, so in order to combine the two, you drag over both of the shapes and you click this group button. You will then get a hole inside this box. Yeah, so you can actually get a hole in the box using this particular function of hole. So you don't have to worry about, you don't need to drag out this thing specifically. You can drag out any of the shapes here and then change them into a hole. Yeah, so that's how it works. So if I remove the two boxes, you can then use this idea to make a house of sorts, right? So you want to make the house of a certain size, and you want to put it in a certain location. So as you can see, as I drag these boxes around, you can see all these numbers here. So this will allow you to, perfectly line up different things without having to drag it in a very minute, finite way. You can actually just type in numbers and it will do it for you. So let's say I want this house to be 5 by 5 cm. So here this is millimeters, so remember that. Or if you want to change it to centimeters, you can do it in the edit grid, but I prefer millimeters. So let's make this a 5 by 5 by 5 cube. And this final number here is the elevation of the cube. So if you want to move it up vertically, you can then type in a number, but I don't really need to do that right now, so I'm going to keep it at 0. So this is the house, And I am not so particular about the location, but I'm just going to keep this at 45. Maybe I'll make this 40. So this one is this is actually the location of the cube with respect to this point of the ruler. And this is very helpful because you can actually because in science we always like to have like little reference points before we do any calculations. And likewise in designing this, it's very helpful to have a origin point so that you can easily do things like centralizing one thing in another and things like that. So you'll find out right now what I mean by centralizing things. So as you can see, this number is for this axis. I'm not sure if you can call that the vertical or the horizontal axis, but for this axis, and this number is for this particular axis. And if you want to know which point it is calculating the reference to, well, it's from this particular line here until this grid point. So you can use the arrow to tell what exactly it's trying to show. And now I want to put this thing inside the red cube. So how do I do that? Well, I could just drag it here, but that's not very accurate. It may make a weird lopsided hole or something like that, right? So what I want to do first is to size the hole appropriately, and for that I would want the cube should have the walls of around maybe 2 millimeters or something like that. So you minus 4 from 50 and you get 46, and you put 46 on this side, and for this one you instead put 48 because the top part will be open, so it will make this 48. And by the way, if you want this to be hidden, you can actually adjust all the things of all the properties of the shape here as well, but it's kind of finicky and I'd rather not do that. So I'll just hide this here to get more space. I can even push this inside to get all the space I want. So now I want to put this into that cube, and I could just drag it there, but it may not be perfectly centralized. So what I can do is I can just type 2 and 2 here, and this will, of course, this is not the correct orientation, right? Because that was 45 and 40. So I'll make this 47 and 42 instead. So if you want it to really only have to type 2, then you can put this ruler at the cube, or you can put the cube at the origin, put 0, 0 for both. Then it will be at the origin itself. And since I want this to be 2 above the ground, I can elevate it using this thing. Yeah, so now you can see that the hole is actually peeking through, and we can group the two. Yeah, so that's how you can make a cube like this, have a hole inside. So this is the house. So once again, we can do the same thing to create a little doorway, I suppose. I guess here the thickness of the thing doesn't really matter. And I think 20 is a nice number. And maybe this one can be 25. And we know that this is 50 and this is 20, so the difference is 30, and divide by 2 you get 15, so this will be around 60, and this will have the same. Yeah, so of course you have to maybe elevate it by 2 so that it doesn't interfere with the bottom, the floor part of it, and we can then create our door, the door opening, I guess. Yeah, so we have a little house thing without any windows. I don't want to waste time putting windows right now. So yeah, we have a house. Now we want to put a roof on it, and yeah, there's all kinds of roofs and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe let's put a pyramid as the roof. So as you can see, there's all kinds of shapes here, and you can just go through all of them and do what we need to do. So once again, we need to put this on top of the house, so we'll make this 50 and 50. I think 20 is a good height. We need to elevate this by 50 because this is above the house. And then once again, we can put 40 and 45. And you might be wondering, well, I don't really like this combination of red and yellow. It reminds me of McDonald's a bit too much. So you can always change the color here. So here you can just go here and you can click this color for, like, maybe I want it to be the brown color, and I want this house to be like a blue color. Maybe green color is better. Okay, so now we made a little house that has a brown roof and a green main part of the house, I guess. And if let's say you wanted to group these two together, you can do that, but then what happens is the color changes. It makes all of them have the same color. So how do you avoid this? Well, one way to do that is to click the color and instead click multicolor. Oh, by the way, there's also custom colors, so you don't have to specifically stick to these colors, so you can even take your own custom color. And you might be wondering, what's this other option? This is transparent. So doing this will allow you to make it look like glass or something. So maybe if you're designing two parts and you want to actually see what the inside part looks like compared to the outside part, you can use this to make it transparent and make it easier for you to see. So for example, if I make a huge, wait, why is this thing so huge? Oh, okay. Don't know why it went so far away. But if I made this, you know, around 50, and then if I go here, I can actually see the ball through the roof, even without the hole in the way. I can actually see it. And but if I were to click this and I made this not transparent, but then I can't really see the ball unless I look through the hole. And yeah, that's basically that. Alright, so you can use these basic functions to make incredibly detailed adjustments to each of your little shapes and put them in a certain arrangement to get a actually pretty complicated shape. So you might be wondering, okay, so far we've just been doing translations and resizing and stuff like that. So what else can you do with in terms of each of the shapes? Well, for that, let me get a little triangular thing like this wedge. So as you can see, apart from these numbers here, which is for the size, and these numbers which are for the translation, there's also another thing that you can do, which is rotate the shape. So in order to rotate the shape, you first need to decide which axis you want to rotate it about. So as you can see, there's three different axes, right? There's this work plane axis, then there's the axis that this side of the house represents, and the axis that this side of the house represents. So if I were to click this one, it's basically the same as this particular axis. And if I were to click this, I can either define an angle, so I can click this and then type an angle, maybe 70, which will make your life a lot less troublesome because you don't have to actually remember you don't have to minutely rotate it, or you can basically just drag it yourself. So you can just click it and then drag it to whatever angle you want. So if I were to try to re-rotate it back, because maybe you didn't want to rotate it back, you can just put 0 because it has already been rotated to this point. So whatever number you put will rotate it further. So if you want to rotate it back, you can put -70 and it will rotate back. Or you can just do the undo button because that's easier to do. Okay, so yeah, that's another function you can do with this. And this is just the grouping and ungrouping, so you can actually ungroup the shape as well and things like that. So that's basically the shape. So you might be wondering, what is this button? Well, this will mirror the shape. So you can actually mirror it across this axis or across this axis. As you can see, if I go to this particular view, you can see a upside down house here. Or if you do it across this axis, the hole will be facing the other way around, so something like that. And that's the mirroring part. And you might be wondering, what are these two buttons here for? So this is the lock editing. So if I don't want anyone to edit it, or if I don't want to accidentally move the house around or resize it or anything, I can just click this. And yeah, I can't even move the house now, so it is locked and I cannot do anything to this house. So this particular thing, there's another thing I can do, which is to hide it. So maybe if I don't like this ball here, but at the same time I want it to be there, but at the same and I don't want to see it, I can just click this. So this light bulb will hide any shape that you want, and you can hide multiple shapes as well. And once you're done with hiding it and you want to show them all, you can click this and to show everything. But it is quite hard to only show one shape, so just be a bit more careful with how you want to hide everything. If you want to only show one shape, just show all and then hide everything else. I guess that's the only way to do it. And yeah, once again, as I showed earlier, dragging things will select all of the shapes in the picture, so you can hide everything and select and show everything again. So apart from this side of the thing, there's also this side of the thing. So this is copy, this is paste. You can just use your keyboard as well, that's also possible. There's also duplicate and repeat, and you might be wondering where it is. So if I just use my keyboard, the up down arrow, I can actually move the thing around like this as well. So if you're not into like very finicky typing, you can just move it around like this using your arrow keys. And you might be wondering, oh, how do you move it up and down? In order to move it up and down without typing the number, you can use this arrow here. This will allow you to move it up and down. Yeah, so those are the ways to move the same thing around, I guess. Either you type in the numbers or you use that to do it. So yeah, that is for this whole setup of Tinkercad. I don't think I can think of anything else. What else? This is the flat view and perspective view, but no one really cares about that. There's also a fit all in view, which will fit everything in the same view. And apart from this, there's also other, forms of doing things. And this one is if I click this, it's a block view, so it looks a bit like Minecraft here. And you can do some, Lego. Why does this look like Minecraft now? Oh my gosh. You can do it in the form of blocks as well. And you can there's a tree here. How cute is that? Okay. Or you can even do it in a Lego block kind of view, which is even more interesting to look at. It's like cute little blocks. Look at how cute this is. You might be wondering how to actually do this though. That's a good question. Yeah, so this, I'm not sure how you can do this in reality. I guess this is just a way to view it in different forms. So like this just allows you to use it for a Lego building project or something like that. So you can do stuff like that. It is pretty cute actually. So it is useful for Minecraft and for Lego enthusiasts. So like if you want to view it in that format, you can do it, and it will help you to plan out your Lego build or your Minecraft build. Yeah, so back to the main form. I guess there isn't much else you can do here. I'll just go through this very interesting thing called Scribble. So this thing is like it's a shape that you can draw yourself. So let's say if I want to draw a smiley face, so I can draw this eye here. I can even draw multiple parts to it. And maybe this is like a kitty cat kind of face actually. And I don't know what. Okay, so this is some. It looks like, does it look like a cat or a dog? I have no idea. Anyways, so this face can then be this is the drawing thing, this is the erasing thing. So let's say if you want to erase a little bit of this thing a bit here, you can do that. Or you can draw a shape. I can draw like a shape using this particular thing. This one looks like the thing in paint that will allow you to do this kind of stuff. This will draw a shape. or you can even erase the shape, erase using a shape kind of thing. So that is basically what this looks like. And once you're done, you can click done, and this will be a whole entire shape. So you cannot really ungroup this. The only way to remove certain parts now is to either edit it using the edit scribble, or you can use a hole and remove this part of the shape, for example. So yeah, you can do this. If you want to remove this thing here, you can take a hole. You don't really have to be super finicky about the size of the hole. Just get something that can cover everything, then group them, and you will get this without the stuff at the top. Okay, to some extent, yeah. Yeah, so apart from that, I think another thing that you can do is you can you can do sharing here. You can send this to people. There's all these ways to share it. Unfortunately, this recording thing is preventing me from, actually clicking the importing option. So basically, there's an import option, and you can use that to import different formats. So I don't think I will be able to show it to you right now. So there's different ways to import stuff. You can import an STL, which is similar to what this is. So it's just a 3D shape. Or you can import an SVG, which is actually a 2D shape, but it will put in the same setting as it does for this. So it will give it a default height of 20 millimeters here. Yeah, so that is that's the stuff that you can actually import. So you can use that to actually do quite a few things. So like for example, last time I managed to, at my job, it's not like a real job, but like my task was to mimic a certain object that I wanted to show in the form of a 3D printing design. And in order to do that, I took a picture of the object and I used a SVG website to, do the SVG part of it. I made it into a SVG and then I imported it into Tinkercad. And that allowed me to actually, get a rough shape of the object without even having to try so hard to create the same shape. And from there, I can refine it further and create the shape that I want. So that's the wonders of Tinkercad. And if you want to access your other project, you can click here. Or if you want to just go back to the home page, you can do this. Yeah, so I hope you found this video useful. If you've never done this before, you should try. It's very fun. You can create whatever you want. You can probably build some Minecraft stuff, like plans for your Minecraft stuff as well. So it's useful for more than just 3D printers, people who like 3D printing and stuff like that, I guess. It's also useful for people who just want to visualize something in a 3D form, or people who want to plan something for your Minecraft or Lego builds. Yeah, so that's about it. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please press the like button and subscribe. And with that, I would like to say thank you and bye.